In today's farm report, more rural bird species are moving to the cities and suburbs and are becoming a nuisance in the process. Rod Bain with the U.S. Department of Agriculture has more.
Many cities and suburbs are taking note of increasing bird populations. With many of these species, visitors from the country that end up staying.
More recently, the Eurasian collared dove is starting to show up. It's similar to the mourning dove, and it's becoming to the level where the densities or numbers are becoming excessive. Magpies, American crow, and more recently, common ravens have moved into urban areas and are becoming a nuisance in a lot of those areas.
Not to mention mallards and Canadian geese, according to Terry Mesmer of Utah State University Extension. Birds that in urban settings are described as invasive. So why are they now settling in our cities and suburbs? Mesmer says it's a trade-off. They come from inhospitable rural settings to what they see as safety and food in urban dwellings.
Particularly our urban parks, our golf courses, cemeteries, and other green spaces, and even folks' backyards as they try to keep those backyards lush and green and full of plenty of protective cover.
And Mesmer says the rise in invasive bird species in urban areas has led to a variety of issues, from displacement of native bird species, increased human-wildlife conflicts, and a potential increase in disease.
Anytime you get an overabundant population in an area and they're focusing on an area because of fecal matter and other things associated with that, there are diseases that can be transmitted to other bird species and result in disrupting that whole balance that we've got in these particular areas.
Now, there are issues related to controlling these invasive species, as many of them are protected by federal and state laws. And while local governments and conservation groups are looking at management options for these populations, Mesmer says there are ways urban and suburban property owners can deal with these bird invaders. One place to start is sanitation management.
What's attracting them? Are there things we're doing on the landscape that are providing additional food sources that are bringing them into the area? Can we clean that up?
Then there is exclusion. And while building a fence to keep invasive birds out is not really an option, Mesmer notes,
there are some things that we can do to modify the habitat. One of these areas is looking at our backyards, our green space areas where we've got trees and vegetation that's overgrown, created kind of a habitat area, a lot of protective cover is the idea of kind of thinning those out, removing those, cutting those back, reducing the cover, and forcing them to kind of maybe look for some other areas.
This type of exclusion is also a form of population reduction. Many regulations prevent eradication, but depending on what local ordinances allow, you can scare away invasive birds through a variety of means.
A lot of these are pyrotechnics. They might be some kind of reflective tape or something along that line, but you have to use those things in concert to really be effective.
And yes, that does include utilizing a scarecrow. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.